When you think of gold, you probably think Fort Knox. When you think of gold bars, you probably think the Bullion Depository. What's a good thing that John Hardin High School has 5 pieces of gold that will never be in the Bullion Depository. Sir, what do you know about winning gold?
I was able to win 2 of my own and able to coach 3 others, so I do know some, but not as much as Fort Knox.
A little bit. Now tell us who you are.
Josh Johnson. I wrestled at John Hardin High School from 06 to 2010, and I won in 08 and 2010.
And this is your 2008 State Championship review video, and I've got it kind of wrote down, but we'll get into how you got into wrestling. But Hardin County as a whole just has a phenomenal wrestling tradition. I know they're your rival, but just kind of bear with us. North Hardin, 1968, 1969, 1978, 1981 team state champions, and they have 34 individuals. A school called West Hardin has 2 state champions, which of course that school, or correction, 1 state champion, Tony Peters in 1979. That's my fault. Central Hardin has 2 state champions as well, and John Hardin has 5. We also got to throw in Fort Knox. They've got 3. I think all 3 of theirs are heavyweights, if I'm not mistaken, from back in the 80s and 90s. But you know, Hardin County, man, just as a whole, has a deep, deep wrestling tradition. So I got to ask, what gets you into wrestling?
Well, like you talked about North Hardin, my dad grew up in that era.
Okay.
When they were winning state, and I grew up doing other sports. And it was just like mentioned to me like 4th grade or like fifth grade, and I was like, hey, I'll go give this a shot. And I started out at North Hardin, and then wrestled there through 8th grade, and then John Hardin after.
Okay, now for those of us, you know, not from Hardin County, is Hardin County like zoned or district to where, like, if you live in a certain area you have to go to a certain like high school, or is it just like you can go wherever you want?
No, it is. I mean, I think like pretty much every other area.
Okay.
It's, you know, if you're in this area, you go to John, this area,
right.
North Hardin. But you can't apply to go to other schools.
Okay, so I got you.
District.
And you know, all 3 of the Hardin County high schools, Central, John, and North, all have wrestling, correct?
Yep.
Does E-Town have?
They do not.
Okay, I couldn't think they did. Teams are popping up all over the place.
Right.
It's hard to keep up with.
Hopefully soon, but
yeah. And does Fort Knox still have a program?
They do.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, you got wrestling all over the place, and so you started in the North Hardin program, and then you went to John Hardin, correct?
Right.
Okay. Yep. I just want to kind of, that was, in doing my research about this, one of the first videos that I got was the 1969 state championship video, and North Hardin wins the team title, and some of the guys from North Hardin were recognized a few years ago at the state wrestling tournament for, I think, their 50th anniversary. I think it was 2019, and it was cool to see some of the photos. And a couple of guys have reached out. Some of the family, I should say, have reached out asking if they have, you know, videos of it. We've been able to send families, you know, their match videos from. I mean, that you talk about something that's fulfilling and gratifying. Is being able to send a family member, somebody like their grandpa, their uncle, their dad that's no longer with us, and they're able to sit around and, you know, watch their match, their state championship match, all these years later. And I love, you know, we're at your house today, man. Thanks for having me here at your place.
Absolutely.
And being able, like, you coach at John Hardin, and, you know, your wrestlers and your youngsters coming up through your middle school, elementary, they're going to be able to watch both of yours. And it's just so fulfilling, gratifying, if you will, to be able to do this for not just a particular school, but for an entire area and even for the entire state. Because whenever I put out on my Facebook, we were going to be coming down here and doing some John Hardin videos, I had a bunch of people reach out and was like, dude, we can't wait to see Josh Johnson's state championship matches. We've heard the stories. We never got to watch the footage. So now you're a hot commodity, if you will. So let's kind of talk about your high school, going into your high school career. The 2007 campaign, 119 pounds, you're a freshman. You come in 3rd place, but you get to the semifinals and you're wrestling Matt Zarth from Hendry Clay, and he gets a 7-2 decision on you. But there's no shame in losing to Matt Zarth. He was a 3-time state champion at 119 pounds, 07, 08, and 09. So Matt was heck of a wrestler. I remember, being at tournaments, refereeing, and seeing him. I mean, he was a hammer. I mean, the dude was a straight hammer. So there's no, I guess, shame in coming in third. But I got to ask, like, between your freshman and sophomore years, what do you think was like the switch you made, or like, in the movie Over the Top where Lincoln Hawk turned his hat around backwards and got ready to arm wrestle? What was your turning the hat around backwards moment that you thought, okay, I've been to the semifinals, I know I can win it?
Right. Well, actually, so in 06, my 8th grade year, I took second place that year too.
Oh, did you really?
I was at North Hardin.
Okay.
So I'd been, on the stage there, and even in 07 against Matt, which he was a hammer. He beat me every time I saw him. I felt great going in the match. Thought I was going to get my hand raised, but like I said, Matt was very good. So he ended up getting that one on me. So then, really, I think the only thing that switched from my freshman year to sophomore year, even though I was kind of always almost there, it wasn't just that I thought I could win sometimes. I started to think that I could win all the time, even when the matches meant more than some of the others. So.
I got you. And the beauty of doing this series and getting to tell all these stories is the wrestlers coming up, whether they're a senior or whether they're in elementary school, is being able to hear stories like that, mindset switches, practice routines that they changed. Because there's an old saying, I guess, if you will, if you want to learn how to become the best ice cream maker, surround yourself with the best ice cream makers in the world, and chances are you're going to become a good ice cream maker. You want to learn how to be a state champion, listen to what some of our state champions, some of the stories, some of the, like I said, the mentality changes that they had, practice routines got changed up, what they done in the off season. And if you follow, you listen to them, it speaks to you, hey, maybe I could do this, maybe this will help me better. I would just about guarantee you're going to be a better wrestler listening to what people like you, people like Bruce Stepp, Livingston Merritt, George King, some of these guys, some of the stories they've told us, that you're like, oh, man, I can do that. I can make that change. But 08 is the year of Josh Johnson at 130 pounds. First round of the state tournament, you wrestle Mason Fuller from Ashland. You win that by a fall, 1:52 seconds. Remember that match?
A little bit.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I mean, it was a little while.
I know you've wrestled hundreds, if not thousands, of matches. I didn't know if you remember that one or not. Second round, you're wrestling Jake Skinner from Christian County. You win that by a 7-3 decision. Jake comes in 6th place that year. In the quarters, you're wrestling Talon. Help me with the name. Is it
Denline, I believe.
Denline from Campbell County. A fall, 1:55 seconds. In the semis, you're wrestling JJ Jude, and you get a tech fall on JJ, 19-4. JJ comes in 4th place, but don't feel bad for JJ. He goes on and he becomes a 2-time state champion in 2011 and 2012, 171 and 170 pounds respectively. You get to the finals and you're wrestling Caleb Irvin from Union County. Now, we're not going to tell you how the match ends. We have the video. We're going to watch it. But had you wrestled Caleb before this?
I had not. I'd seen him a couple times, hoping to be able to match up with him, but it just never happened until that last one of that year. So,
like, you guys, I guess the rankings, the message boards, all that were a thing back then. Was it kind of like everybody saying, hey, we know what the state finals are going to be? Like in November, everybody was predicting the state finals. Did they have you and him paired up? Do you remember anything about that?
I remember some, yeah. I think most people did have it that way, but he had actually just recently took a loss to Grant Ullman. So then that kind of switched it up a little bit. I think he'd beaten Ullman a handful of times leading up to it, but because of that recent loss that he had to him. But most of the year, yes, I do think people were wanting to see that match.
And funny you should mention our friend Grant Ullman. His video's on the channel, by the way, 2010 state champion. You guys need to watch it after you watch the John Hardin series. Is Grant messaged me whenever I put out, I was coming down here, he was one of the like, I can't wait to see it. Is Grant thinks that you and Grant are the only two Kentucky wrestlers that beat Caleb in his career.
I believe that's true. Yeah.
So
I can't think of anyone else. That's for sure.
That's a
Caleb was a hammer.
He was a stud, man.
Yeah.
He was an absolute stud. And in case you don't know, Caleb goes on 09, 10, and 11 state champion, and he was the 2011 most outstanding wrestler. So I mean, he was of course. If you're watching this, chances are you know about Kentucky wrestling, Union County, the Irvins. I mean, they basically have owned the last 15, 20 years of Kentucky wrestling. So they're hammers down there, man. And you were able to keep one of the best from being a 4-time, man. That's a feather in the cap for John Hardin Wrestling. The match video we're going to get our computer set. We're going to go back to the Dungeon 2008. We'll see you guys there. You guys are seeing what we're seeing. We're at the Dungeon in Frankfurt 2008. And I don't know about you, but the Dungeon under the lights was the best atmosphere that could possibly be created.
Absolutely.
I mean, the lights, the music, the way that the mat was like, you felt like you was right there on top of the mat. I mean, you know, WrestleMania, UFC, boxing, any of these big-time combat sports cannot replicate the atmosphere that was here at the Dungeon. Now, of course, we know the Dungeon no longer exists, but from 96 to 2011, this was the best atmosphere. And you know, we go out, we meet with newer wrestlers to the sport, like we done Uriah Verzi's videos a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about going back and watching off camera, talking about watching some of the older videos and how cool it was. I was like, man, we should get back to that. It's like, you know, we're finally getting back to an arena as of this filming. The 24 state tournament will be at the Horse Park, but man, just the lights, the music, all that. So you're backstage, getting ready to be introduced for the face-off. What's going through your head?
Nervous, for sure. This was, like I said, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time that I was there, though, and expected to win.
I got you.
I mean, that doesn't always mean you do,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got to go out there and earn it. So that actually added nerves to me. I remember warming up for this match entirely too long, you know, going out there with those shaky legs a little bit, but I don't think it hindered me by any means. It's just, you know, nerves were definitely at a high.
I can understand, man. The eyes of the state are on you, man. This under the lights, being under the lights, for a lot of people, you'll hear them say the best move I had was a handshake, or you'll watch another guy get their hand raised or whatever. But we're going to go back. We got the face-off, the match, and the medal ceremony. Let's go.
Video quality is definitely from 2008.
Yeah, I was going to say it. I'm just glad you have it. I believe that's what, North Oldham, Matt?
Yep.
So they got Caleb coming in ranked number 7. So I guess that Grant loss did mess everything up. So if the guys, the video is dark. It will lighten up, I promise, when the lights come back on here. Do you have a lot of family and friends and everything in the stands?
Yeah, I definitely had a handful. Trent's there, you know, he's probably 8 years old.
Okay.
Chad, which he's my older, he's a year and a half older than me. He never like wrestled or anything, but my mom and dad, aunts, uncles.
I got you, man.
Good crew there.
It's not that far of a trip from Hardin County to Frankfurt.
About an hour and a half, somewhere in there.
All right, so we got that traditional red singlet on, red and white. So what was your go-to takedown here? What are we looking to do off the whistle?
Head inside. It's really pretty much most of what I look for. I'd shoot a head inside single right there. You see it to their left leg, and I felt really good in the front headlock. So that's more, I was looking to either, you know, snap you down into me.
I got you.
I do remember, so if I got my hands locked on a leg, I felt like I could score on anybody. I remember taking that first shot on him, and up to this point, he had the heaviest hips that I've felt till this point.
It's like he was trying like some type of little arm drag or something right there. or just maybe just a setup for something.
Yeah, Caleb had a lot of offense.
There it is. Got the headlock. Nothing out of bounds. We're neutral. I think that's is that a young Jim Shaw as your referee?
That's this one here. That's definitely not Jim Shaw
Okay.
there, but I don't know about the other one. No, that's not here. I'm not sure though.
Or maybe that's Rocky.
Yep, that's who it is.
Rocky.
It's, you know how you see these same referees
Yeah.
still. It's pretty cool.
All right, so nothing yet. A lot of action, but you guys have been able to cancel each other out on a lot of things. Good sprawl. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. All right, red stalling. There, shoot in again. And like I've said in other videos, like the 99, 2000, 2001, end of the period, that late 90s, early 2000s, that was like when you started to see scramble and really kind of
For sure.
start to come to the...
Yeah, definitely kind of added. I was thinking, it's like funny. I haven't watched this match in forever, but I had to go like find it. So I went to my mom and dad's, but I needed to make sure that this was the one. So I stuck it in last night. And it's funny how much wrestling's evolved.
Oh yeah. No, you chose neutral. I'm not to interrupt, but you chose neutral. Was that a tactical decision or?
Yes, at the time. Looking back now as a coach, that was definitely the wrong decision. I should have went under him and got my one, but
Got
I felt
that.
so good
Yep.
on my, like feet. I'd already had my hands locked on his leg a couple times.
Yep.
I felt like I could get one. But especially since I got a stall call hit on me, looking back, that was not the right choice.
Yeah. No. The I don't know how many guys now are coaching or coach for some point and they'll watch their video and they're like, there it is, 2. Like, I don't think I was really all that good back then. I don't know how I won it. So you get your 2 and he gives him a 1 on the edge. So we're now 2-1. You got a takedown right there on the edge, which, I mean, it was a good takedown.
It was off of my front headlock, I believe. There. Like
think-
here, watching back, it's like I don't even know what I'm doing right there. It's like, man, I guess it worked to stop.
Yeah,
it.
it's stopping. It's like he's trying a lot of like upper body attacks.
Yeah, Caleb was really good at going low to high.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to stuff
There's 2.
one shot on him there.
Yep.
So.
So it's 4-1.
So here I have my leg in, which I did not ride legs, and because I was trying to take it out, and instead of working with it, it's in there. You just got to roll with it,
Yep.
and it ends up putting me in a not a good spot.
Now, did he give the reversal yet?
I should have.
I'm gonna say, surely Lord he would
I
give
mean,
it.
that's 2.
Oh
So.
yeah, at least. Okay, so 4-3. Now on bottom, this is the first time you've been down.
Right.
What we're looking to do from the bottom?
Stand up. I just wanted to come up. If I
Okay.
could get to my feet, I always felt good. So.
Oh, ooh.
Ended up able to switch my hips, but still started from coming to the feet. That's what I tell my kids all the time. It's like, hey,
Oh, he gives you one right there at the end.
yeah,
Ooh, okay.
it was close, but you would know better than me. You like ref. I believe if you're out front and they don't have their hands locked, if the hands break,
If there's the hip separation, that's what.
is that what they're
yeah,
looking for?
what
So
we're
maybe-
looking for. There's a lot of factors, but that's a big one is that hip separation. I mean, now on top, what are we looking to do on top here? Oh, you just cut him. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't much of a top guy. I'd ride you if I could tie you up and get to a like wrist, then I'd definitely work with it. If not, and you got your feet, I'd usually just let you go.
And that's something in doing this series, talking to a lot of guys, is once you get to this level, you know what you're good at. You're not you shouldn't try to break something out. So if you know you're not a rider, cut them.
Right.
One, not two.
I believe Joe B's, who I just heard yelling. Joe B coaches No Ox. He coached at North for a while, wrestled at North Hardin. He coached me through my youth and really built me a great base for everything that I learned from there out.
So you're up 1 point with 1:12 to go, neutral. And you got that stall call already, so I'm sure you're probably cognizant of that. Who have you got in your corner?
Adam Lindsay. He coached there my whole time that I was there, and a couple years earlier, and then I was actually able to coach with him for 2 years. Not this past year, but the last 2 years.
Okay.
Earlier than that, so that was kind of cool. He'd been there forever.
All right. Trying to scramble. Rocky's doing the airplane. 2. So it's 7-4, I believe. All right, so you cut him. 7-5.
Fed me some good hips there.
There it is, man. The scoreboard 5-7. Win, man. First state champion for John Hardin. How's it feel? I mean, it's a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to be able to, kind of carry that torch. Start it for him, and then be able to give back now. It's been pretty awesome.
Oh, I guarantee it. And it's going to cut straight to the awards presentation. Who's that giving you a hug?
Adam Lindsay, Coach
Okay.
Lindsay. Yeah, a lot of people around the state probably know him. He coached there for a long time.
And this is the award ceremony.
Watching this again, even like I know the outcome, but I can kind of feel my heart racing. Like, man, what if it changes this time?
Yeah.
It'd be the worst, wouldn't it?
Different. We were at the middle school state tournament this year at Corbin, and we done the video of 1992, Joey Roby and Eric Dingus from Harrison County, and got to meet Joey's dad and his sister and little nephew, and great family. First time I ever met them, but they were as nice as they could be. And Joey's sister comes up, and she was talking how much she loved the video, and she was like, she said, I almost got to the point I couldn't breathe because I was there. I watched it with my own eyes, but watching it back, I felt nervous. I couldn't watch, I almost couldn't breathe because I was wanting to make sure it turned out the same way. And I was like, man, I get it. I understand how you get so much invested into it. And you're like, oh, I can't watch. There's JJ.
JJ was actually, he was in 8th grade this year, and went on to win 2 more. We actually, looking at it now, that weight class was a bunch of young guys, but a bunch of future state champs. Me, like sophomore, and then I was able to win 2, like Caleb, obviously 3. JJ's on there 2. Grant Ullman won 1. So, a bunch of future hammers that were in that weight.
And here you are, man, taking your...
So actually watching this yesterday, I actually walk around the wrong way. So hey, it is what it is, all right? So I still get to stay on top, so I guess it worked out.
It worked out, man. Now this is the way it should be. spotlight on the stage or on the podium, the music.
I agree.
I mean, this is the way. I was glad to see a podium this year at the state tournament.
It's dark looking there, but just because it's from '08,
Yep.
you could definitely see just fine. It was really cool the way they were able to.
Such a
Do
great
everything.
atmosphere, man. Just can't stress it enough if you never got to see it in person, just how awesome it was. So watching it back, of course, you said you watched it, I think yesterday evening. Does it play out the way you remember it as far as like the wrestling part goes?
Some parts for sure. Like I remember thinking, pretty sure I scored here, and I, didn't. And then I think my first like takedown, I thought I scored shooting a single. Said it was a front headlock. Little things like that. It was 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's.
But also, you got images in your head, like thinking way back, right? Of course, 2008, but thinking that far back, I thought I did a little more things on offense, maybe,
Yep.
or like scrambled a little better. I did a couple things, and it did work for me. But the way, like I said already, the way like wrestling's evolved since then, from flow and just having access to it all. It has nothing to do with more effort now. It's just the opportunity that everyone has. I feel like it's just excelled a ton.
And we've met with guys from the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up and through as of this filming 2023. And you're I won't say older guys, but guys, I graduated in 03, so you're about 7 years, I think, a little bit younger than me. And the amount of tournaments, off-season camps, just being able to wrestle basically all year, and you can see it. I mean, look at the Rainies at Union County.
Absolutely.
I mean, they will probably be on the Olympic team at some point. And I'm serious. I'm not saying that to be sarcastic or
they're
whatever.
crazy good, fun
but
to watch.
they will be representing the United States, I'm sure, at some level. And
one of them is this year, the Greco team. So
yeah, that's right. That's
world
right.
team, so
And
Jordan, I believe.
Jordan, and just how you can attend these camps all year, wrestle all year, go to
Right.
these and see competition from all over the world. Well, when I say world, I mean United States, but from your Iowas, your Pennsylvanias, your Minnesotas, Michigan, some of your better wrestling states, and you're seeing them on a constant level. And a lot of schools, a lot of teams, clubs, whatever, are traveling to be a part of this. And you can see the elevation in Kentucky wrestling. I mean,
absolutely.
you can see not just, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there's some schools that may not have the best wrestling pedigree. Even now, they're starting to raise, and you're like, whoa, where are these guys coming from? What's going on here at this school? And you're like, it's good that Kentucky wrestling as a whole is raising. We're not just 2 or 3, 4 schools that are on tops. It's like every single year, it's like, okay, we have some front runners in this weight, whatever, but it could be anybody, because it's just, like I said, the wrestling is growing and being more accessible, if you will, to everybody. And that's great. I love seeing that. That's all we got for 2008. Now, of course, you're a 2-time state champion. The next video is going to be Josh's 2010 video. We'll see you guys in 2010.